get alone. Hi, this is day 81. 81 of our voluntary lockdown. They've taken the shackles off too early. I don't know why they've done it. I don't know why they. I think it's mostly economic. I think there's an element of being in a competition. That we have to be seen to be playing the game along with the rest. It's a football match, and we're, we need to get our scores on the doors. But we've gone too early. It won't work. Right, I've got some numbers here, which is sort of semi-prepared. So, a study came back. They probably could have done this study before they decided to lock down, where they found that in England, on our own, this study was done amongst 5,000 households. In England, once they got the numbers in, they estimated using the modelling that there were 148,000 active cases outside of hospitals, outside of care homes, in the community, and of course they don't know where they are. Now there's another study that's running, the COVID-19 app. I'm sure a lot of you have it. It's 3.5 million people have it. I'm keeping my voice down because my family's asleep. That asks you how you are and whether you've been for a test, and then if you're not well, it asks you a lot of supplementary tests and questions, and it with great accuracy, around about 80%, estimates whether you've actually got COVID. That's active COVID, active infectious COVID, where you are feeling unwell and you've actively got the virus. That app reckons now that there's 248,000 cases in the whole of the UK. I don't know how they measure in care homes, because little old ladies and little old gentlemen don't have mobile phones, but nonetheless. The other thing to say about that is, about 5 days ago, it went all as high as about 2.2 million from memory, but so it's going down. About 5 days ago, it went to 230,000 having active COVID. So it's been going up, and that it bottomed either the day that the lockdown was loosened or the day before. Now, more numbers. There's another study that's coming, which I'm sure everybody's read about. Everybody's getting very sophisticated now, and which has done this test. That sample, one of these tests that was done came up with the fact, this is out of Cambridge, that they think 6.6 million people have had this. Either are having it and have had it, 6.6 million people. So that gives us some very interesting infection fatality rates, because we now got the infection fatality rates. Now, there are lots of numbers, aren't there? There's this number of 34,500, which is the official number, 34,400. I haven't got that number in front of me, but it's around 34,500. So if you divide 34,500 by 6.6 million and then multiply that by 100, which is how you get a percentage, you get 0.52% of the population infection fatality rate. The infection fatality rate for this disease, using that number, is 0.52%. Then there's this other number, which is somewhat speculative, but I think may prove to actually be conservative, which is the excess deaths. And they reckon that the excess deaths above the average is somewhere around 50,000 for this period. So there's been 50,000 excess deaths above average in the UK. And that 50,000 divided by 6.6 million gives an infection fatality rate of 0.75%. So let's go back to these other numbers, the numbers about the whole of the UK, and I think we should use the COVID number because that is for the whole of the UK, whereas the government sample, which sampled 5,000 families, which only came up with a number of 148,000 people who actively had COVID. The COVID app reckons there's 248,000 people at large in the whole of the UK, whereas the 148,000 was just for England. I think we can rely on that because the sample size is so big. Anyway, either of them, it doesn't matter if we take either of them. What are the mitigating strategies for lifting the lockdown? There aren't any. There isn't any track and trace in place. There isn't an isolate strategy. There's never been an isolate strategy. I mean, that I've always found completely insane. You know, in China and a lot of other countries, if you have this disease, you're taken out of your home and put somewhere in isolation. You're put somewhere in isolation because otherwise the chances of you giving it to everybody else in your household are extreme. This is such an infectious disease. So anyway, the point I'm making is with 248,000 people at large and no mitigation strategy and just saying, right, okay, the lockdown is beginning to end. And I see evidence for this everywhere. You know, already we're seeing pictures of packed tubes, packed buses, you know, driving through Oxford. I saw people, you know, builders in vans, 3 abreast, you know, in the front cab going to work. People too close. And I mean, we went for a walk yesterday and there was a party and a barbecue. It's not if we're going to get a second wave. We're going to get a second wave. We're going to get a second wave. And the virus has a huge target to aim at. If you take the population of the UK, which is 66 million, and you take 6.6 million off, that's a rather convenient number actually, isn't it? You get 60 million people for this virus still to aim at. 60 million people have not had this virus. Okay, and they say that if 70% of people get it, then it's hard. You know, then we'll get a kind of herd immunity. So 70% of 60 million is 42 million. So let's take the case, the infection fatality rates we worked out just now. So 42 million multiplied by 0.52%, that's the infection fatality rate, is 218,400 deaths. And 42 million multiplied by 0.75% is 315,000 deaths. Stay alert, control the virus. I mean, stay alert, control the virus. Your virus is out. Control that virus. On your bed. On your bed. On your bed. On your bed. COVID. On your bed. I mean, come on. We can't control this virus. We can do practical, sensible, common sense, the much vaunted British common sense. We haven't got a lot of it. We really have not got a lot of it. We've got to stip up a lip. We've got sort of determination. We've got wartime spirit. None of that is helpful. None of it is helpful. In Headington Park, there's a stone snake. There's lots and lots of stones in a row, yeah? And there's a pile of stones as well. And you can pick up a stone and your child can draw on it and then add it to the snake. So it's made of lots and lots of pretty painted stones, and it's about 6 meters long now, the snake. But there's little kids and mums all over this snake every day touching it. That would not happen in New Zealand. That would not happen in Vietnam. That would not happen in Taiwan. That would not happen in China. That would not happen in South Korea because it's dangerous. I mean, I can feel myself relaxing. I go, oh, I didn't take my gloves when I went shopping. You know, he needed to get the numbers down. He needed to get the numbers down with 248,000 active cases at large. Lifting the lid off, it's just going to explode. More numbers. Right, this is here. These are R numbers above 1. Okay, so R1.1, R1.2, R1.3, R1.4, R1.5, R1.6, R1.8, R2. Yeah. When this was absolutely raging at the beginning, they reckoned it was just under 3 in the UK, the R number. So, but obviously we started with, in this country, we started with 1 case, didn't we? And then 2, and then so on, and it doubled. And very, very quickly, despite the fact that the first case arrived in, I don't know, mid-January sometime, we got to 6.6 million people having had it. So, I'll tell you, let's assume as well, there was a time when it was doubling every 3 days. You can take whatever doubling rate you want, but I've done it every 3 days. If you go to R1, yeah, we, on day 15, with it at R1, and starting with a base number of 248,000 cases in the whole of the UK, we have 394,000 cases, 554. And then R2 is 609,000 cases, blah, 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 blah. R3 is 1,223,000 cases. Now, if we go to R2, yeah, and we assume that this thing doubles every 3 days with a starting number of 248,000. And don't forget, the way this works is I take the first number, yeah, and there's 245,000 cases, then you double it, which would be 490,000 cases, and then you have to add the cases that you still have. So you add that back in. Anyway, so with a starting number of 245,000 cases on day 15, you have 7,840,000 people infected with the virus, with a starting number of 245,000. God knows what the R number is going to be, but it's going to be above 1, very, very fast. And this thing's going to take off. It's absolutely going to take off. The thing is, we will not know. They will not know the result of what they've done, the effect of what they've done, until 10 to 14 days after when they've done it. I think there'll be a spike, which they will point at VE Day as well. I think there was no warning about those parties, but you know, a couple of beers, and I think families that were on either side of the front garden, you know, were suddenly passing scones and sausage rolls backwards and forwards and cozying up. I mean, I saw it. We're gonna get properly spanked. We are. There's not. We are. I tell you what the British strategy is at the moment. Hey, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. It's a funny place to live, the UK, I think, given everything that keeps people apart will kill this virus, and everything that brings them together will kill it. I'll say it the other way around. Everything that brings people together will spread this virus, and everything that keeps people apart will kill it. That's it. It's not my rules. That's the rules of the virus. That's the virus's rules. We don't listen and we don't know. And we've gone too early. We've gone too early. We've gone too early. It's all right to throw petrol on a fire that is out. It is not all right to throw petrol. The petrol is us, right? That's what COVID seizes us. It's just food, just a breeding ground. It's not all right to throw petrol on a fire that is raging. Have a really nice day. Okay, bye.